Good evening. How's everyone doing tonight? Welcome to our
Welcome, everyone.
What's going on? This is going to be our Thursday night recap for Rodman, like we traditionally do. So we got two special guests with us tonight. We're going to spend some time and introduce them here momentarily, and then we got some big news. We got some giveaways. We got a bunch of stuff going on tonight. So hopefully you guys are ready and excited to kind of get to see what kind of unfolds here in the next 35 to 45 minutes. It ain't going to be too long of a show. We like to keep them short and sweet. No one has Thursday night football to go watch, so we can take a little bit more time. But hopefully you guys enjoy this. And as we get to talk to our top finishers on Rodman, our last event. So again, that's kind of what's going to be unfolding this evening, not this afternoon. I don't know what I'm saying. This evening. So I'm going to bring them onto the stage here one by one, and let them introduce themselves. I know Todd and myself have some questions for them to kind of talk to them, but ultimately this is their time to kind of talk to you guys, and you get to see and get to know a little bit about them. So I'm going to bring Timothy Campbell and Miss Wendy Biles to the stage here, and we're gonna talk Rodman. I got some photos actually downloaded on here that I'm going to pop up as well to kind of showcase some of their bigger fish, some of the bigger fish that were caught out there on Rodman. But yeah, without further ado, I'm going to talk with Tim first, and then we'll go to Wendy to finish it off. And we're going to have Blake Abbey. He wasn't able to join us tonight. He is on daddy duty, so we're actually going to have Blake on next Thursday at the captain's meeting for the Harris of Palapalooza event. So you'll get to talk with him. But we got one of the two Old Town team members here tonight that took home a check at Rodman, so we'll get to talk to her. But Tim, I'm going to let you introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about you, and then we'll have a couple questions for you, and then we'll move on from there. So,
yeah, I'm Timothy Campbell. I mean, most of you guys probably know me because I've fished with KAF with FKBT. I fish out of Feel Free Dorado on the Feel Free team, and I mean, Rodman is a place that I don't get to fish that often, and I've missed like the past few tournaments, and I'm happy I made this one.
Yeah, I think that's something to. How often have you fished Rodman by chance?
Not that often, honestly. Like, my parents actually have property up there, probably 30 minutes away, because that's why they came to the awards afterwards.
Yeah.
And I fished there when I was younger, out of the John boat, but recently I haven't fished much. Like last summer I did. Yeah, I did, but I got blanked out there in the summer when it was hot.
Yeah. It can be those manatees. They were still active on Saturday. I'll tell you that much. I went over one that I thought was a log, and it just kind of came up and blew its snout when it was foggy. I about jumped out of my kayak. It scared me. Okay, yeah. So Todd, I'm going to turn it over to you. Let you ask your questions, and then we'll kind of pick your brain a little bit more, Tim, before we move on.
Okay.
Yeah, awesome. Well, you already answered a little bit of the question. So, are you native to Florida, or are you?
Yeah, I'm native to Florida. I've lived in South Florida most of my life, and I moved up here probably to Orlando about 2018. But my parents, since 2007, bought property up near Keystone Heights, so I've been up and back a lot while they were building a house.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So how long have you been kayak fishing in general?
Ooh, how long have I been kayak fishing? I want to say I got into it right after the pandemic, so I want to say, do you guys remember the last year for KAF? That was my first year ever kayak fishing.
Really?
Yeah.
That was 2019 or 2020? I think it was 2020. 2020, I believe, yeah.
Last year of the KAF?
Yeah, the Kayak Anglers of Florida.
That would have been 22 because I moved here and y'all were just doing all the end of it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
My times have my years have kind of merged together. So yeah, this is our third season.
Yeah.
Yeah, third season. So yeah, that makes sense then.
Yeah, cool, because I'm getting ready to join and then it dismembered.
That was my first year ever kayak fishing. I actually watched Greg Blanchard for a while, and I used to just fish from the bank, and just recently started getting back into fishing because I done it a lot younger, and I'm like, watching him, it's like, I need to get a kayak. And finally I broke down and ended up going, and I got a kayak, and then I just started doing the KAF trail. So my first year.
Very nice. Very nice. Well, tell us a little bit about your day, Rodman.
So it was foggy, so I didn't launch until like later after launch, and I went to the mouth of where's was that Kenwood, I believe.
Yeah.
I went out to the mouth of where the main lake was, and I kind of just started around there playing around. I saw some busting on there, and I was just looking around, and then like 30 minutes in, I kept seeing through the fog there was like one big tree out there in the middle, and I'm like, keep wanting to go over that one. So finally I broke down, and I just started heading over, fishing over to that one, and as soon as I got there, I got my first fish, like within 30 minutes, and that was my 19, I believe. And literally right next to the tree, and then of course there's bats all throughout that tree. Like I took a video, you could hear all the bats in the tree right next to it. And I just started working in through the stump field, just throwing a Texas rig Senko at the base of all these stumps, and I ended up catching the 20 necks, which somehow I caught it, and I got it stuck in the middle of one of those cypress ones, and I had to sit there, and I had it pinned, and it was stuck in the middle of the cypress. So I'm sitting there trying to reel it in, and it's just sitting there flopping at the surface, and I had to motor over just to get it out, and I finally was actually able to pull it out. I was lucky I was throwing straight braid, or I was worried it was going to break off. But yeah, my first 3 fish were my biggest, and they came within like an hour of each of them, and then I got like a 15, and then as soon as that fog went away, like everything just shut off. I had to move, and I had to run down to more of the main lake. I ran east, and I ran around to the point over there, and I started seeing some beds. So I just grabbed a speed worm through the pads, and I was just throwing a speed worm, kind of burning it through the pads, and that's how I got my last 2 fish, actually, because I caught a 15, then I called it out with a 16.25. But after that, I didn't really catch anything else.
Yeah, you caught your two, what was it, 2 19s, and your or you had a 19 and 18 in your 20, kind of bang bang bang, like pretty quick in the morning there. When I saw that, I was like, man, I looked at 2 people, and I'm like, oh, they're easily going to be in the mid 90s to maybe breaking the 100 mark, and that was you and Wendy pretty early on. I was like, well, they got the recipe for whatever figured out. They should easily be able to get into like the mid to low 90s, and it looks like you just fell just shy of that, but not being able to cull those 2 16s and 15s. But you definitely started out pretty strong.
Yeah, it was a great day. Like those bass were fat too, because I went and I actually after I caught the first one, I weighed them on my scale, and I think it was the first one was like a 3.8. The second 20 was a 4.5, and then the other one was like a 3.4 or something like that. They're all over 3 pounds, just fat.
Yeah, they're just eating.
Yeah.
Did you see a lot of bait out there in those trees, or no? Did you not see them?
Because I had forward facing, but I was mostly running it in perspective mode. So I didn't really see much bait. Like I could see some gar, and I could see some just schools of stuff moving around, but it wasn't bait. I didn't really see a lot of bait popping around over there. But like most of the fish I caught, I even started trying to put the forward facing towards the stumps to see if I could see anything. And the third one, I believe it was like that, and I didn't even see the fish until I actually hooked it. So
really,
yeah, they're just kind of sitting there, and it's like it was almost instantaneous, because if it would hit and fall, usually all 3 of those bites came on the first drop. If I was pulling it into me, I never had a bite. They'd hit it only as soon as it dropped in.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's funny. I think I know you went to the point. I started out at that point kind of first thing in the morning, and I threw a frog and a speed worm, and I was just burning the worm over those pads, and it was the same thing for me. They couldn't bite it. They just kept nipping the tail, and I would slow it down, and then they wouldn't even look at it, but I could throw a frog in there, and they were just popping the frog every which way, and I just never was able to get a hook in them. There was some bigger ones underneath those mats that were over there, though, because I could hear them kind of eating, slurping some bait up underneath the mats or the pads that were over there. But I'm kind of upset that I left that area. But like you said, once the fog came up, it was pretty hard to get anything to even want to bite. So
like I said, my first 3 were actually that stump field. Like as soon as you come out, the other I had to go over to that point to get, because it's just like everything shut down. And I'm like, I don't know what to do now. It's like, am I going to have 4 fish and not be able to catch a 5th? We're starting to get really worried about that at one point.
Yep. Hey, well, that's a good thing. At least you had 4. to worry about. You didn't have to worry about four not having four. So that's not a lot of people struggled out there on Rodman. Thankfully, we're glad that you guys are actually out there, able to go out there and catch fish. We're hoping that the lakes that we're putting you guys on are having that, the possibility or the capability for people to just go out there without not being able to pre-fish and catch, limits, which, I mean, it's hard to do in Florida as it is to go out there and put 5 fish in the boat with everything, right? There's so many things that kind of can go wrong, and tend to do go wrong, right? So I'm kind of glad looking at these. I've been going through and looking at all the stats and stuff throughout the year, and we've had a pretty good average, about half the field catching limits throughout the tournament, which in my opinion, that's good, because that means that, people are able to go out there. And I know not a lot of the club is actually able to go out there and put a lot of time in pre-fishing because of work. They got other trails that they're fishing and events that they're prepping for. So hopefully, Rodman continues to produce like Orange and those northern lakes do. That's good. I mean, there's only 167 fish that were caught out of there out of 39 anglers. But, at the end of the day, we were kind of in a funk too. And like we were talking about before, maybe a week early or a week late from that, for where they were at on beds, because we were out there a week before they were there. And then we went back out there and they're not there. So, but no, really good job putting the pieces together on little to no pre-fishing. So no, really good job out there. I do have a question for you though, that'll probably spark some interest. Having live scope on your kayak, how beneficial of a tool has it been for you in basically eliminating water or helping you find the fish?
So it's been like hit or miss, because it's been beneficial because I use it a lot in perspective to figure out like laydowns or grass to figure.
Yeah.
And if there's bait in the area, but there's been spots too, even with the live scope, like the fish will just sit on the bottom. You won't even know they're there till you come up over, and they'll just come up. And you won't even know the fish is there until then. But most of the time I see them come up is when I catch them. But I actually don't use it a ton. Like, it's not super reliable. I like it, especially the stump fields. I like them because I was able to see where each of the submerged ones were too, which helped me also avoid from running into them, because I did lose some paint on my trolling motor, even though I was going slow, running into ones I didn't see.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's helped, but it's not like game-changing help, I guess is the best way to put it. It just helps me get more of a knowledge of the area I'm in, and I haven't been, like I said, I still haven't perfected it much yet.
Yeah.
I've only had it probably a month and a half or so, maybe.
Yeah, I was going through and looking at all the fish submissions after the tournament. We go through and we look at all of them the Sunday after, just to make sure everything's squared away and make sure everything is finalized. And I saw on yours where it had live scope. I was like, man, I'm curious on how productive it's been or useful it's been for you. I know I have it on my boat. And I kind of do the same thing. I don't sit there and stare at the screen all day. Like, it really has helped me eliminate water. And where I would spend time where there's fish or there's no fish, it kind of helps me. If I throw it in there and they're not paying attention to it, or they're not wanting what I'm wanting, I don't just sit there with a juggle minnow and try to catch them. I did on Rodman, and I was catching slabs. So that was fun. I went from bass fishing to catching crappie. But
yeah, that's where it hurt me a little bit, actually. Was after my bite shut off, I actually went in a little bit deeper water, and I was looking for those piles and stuff, and I actually started fishing some, and I had some fish come up, and they just follow and then just not commit. And I played around with them too long, and eventually I said, I need to go to these pads, or I got to go somewhere else, because I'm going to spend too long messing with this and not going to catch a fish.
Yeah, and there's 30 foot of water in Rodman. I found it, and I could not tell you how much bait was in those pockets or in those holes. And I mean, I saw the largest school of crappie I've ever seen in my entire life suspended in that little hole that was there. And I just sat there all day. I was just fun. I was like, I've never crappie fished with my live scope, and I was like, well, I'm not going to do anything for bass tournaments. So I just went out there and I was trying to catch some crappie, and I had a blast. That's actually the first time that I've targeted crappie in Florida and using live scope, and oh my god, it was such a blast. I can't catch bass for nothing, but I might go take up a crappie fishing tour, or being a guide for crappie fishing. Are you good? Sorry, my wife's grabbing something behind me. But no, Tim, man, I appreciate you. What were the key baits? I heard you say a Texas rigged Cinco.
Yeah, Texas Rig Senko and Speedworm. Those are like pretty much everything I caught them on. And one thing I also learned with the perspective mode too, you cannot see poles on perspective mode, even though you're trying to look. Because I know I went out there where Hunter flipped on Sunday. Yeah. And I tried to use perspective mode to see if I could figure out like maybe there's an area where I could see something. And I went around there. I mean, that water was cold and the current started churning. So by the time I got there, I was trying to jump in the water and see, but I couldn't even see like 3 feet, unfortunately.
Yeah. And I actually want to talk about that before we get to you, Wendy. And I just want to say something and thank Timothy here, on this live. For those of you that don't know and weren't there on Saturday, Hunter Taylor was flipped by a boat going down the channel. He flipped and lost pretty much all of his bait and tackle and whatnot. So we have a lot of really good, just amazing people in general in our club, which makes all of us extremely happy that we're able to kind of help folks out. This isn't the first time that we had to come together and help folks out, whether it's giving product, reels, rods, baits, whatever it is. But I just want to say thank you guys. Thank you, Timothy, for what you did. He went out on Sunday. He hit me up. Saturday night? He messaged me. And he's like, hey, Chris, I got scuba gear and I really want to go out and see if I can help find Hunter's gear on Rodman, but I don't have his number or way to get a hold of him. Is there a way that you can get a hold of him and try to see if he can send me his GPS location so I can go out there and try to recover some of his gear out in the middle of Rodman? And I was like, man, that's great. I was like, that's awesome. First off, like that's really, really cool that you'd go out of your own way to do that, especially in Florida infested waters with gators. I like, that's crazy in my mind. I'm like, that's crazy. But I was like, yeah, you know what? I'll give you his information. I called Hunter Taylor's mom, who had called me Saturday after tournament, freaking out about where's his son. Like, she hasn't heard from her son and this, that, and the other. So he had used my phone to call her. So she called me back and we were able to tell her that her son's safe off the water, but had flipped his kayak and lost all of his phone and rods and stuff. So I called him back and I was like, hey, Tim, did he end up going out there with you, Tim?
No, he didn't go out there with me because I went out there with my wife, and I was messaging him while I was out there, so I actually took a picture of the area, and he was able to help me pinpoint, like, roughly the area he had flipped in.
Yeah.
So I was trying to, like I said, I was trying to scan, I was trying to look. I even had my my paddle out there, and I was, like, knocking the bottom to see if I could just, like, tap something. Maybe I'd run across something I could tap, and I could dive down and get it. And a few of the stuff I was tapping on were, like, little sticks and stuff. Literally, they felt like a pole, and I'm like, oh, maybe I found it. Jump down. No, didn't get it out.
What I thought was pretty crazy, though, is I talked with Hunter, and I was like, hey, do you have the location? And he was like, yeah. He's like, actually, my iPhone has Find My iPhone enabled. His phone was still on and active, and he can find the location of it at like 8 o'clock that night after we had talked. He's like, yeah, my phone is still pinging in the middle of Rodman. And I'm like, that is crazy that your iPhone is still active to show that your location. But I would assume the next morning it had died or had already, had lost its signal from there. But yeah, I just want to say thank you, Tim. I know Chris Harrelson, he had given Hunter a bunch of different reels. I have some rods I'm going to give him, but if you guys would like, reach out to Hunter, let him know to if you have anything that you're not using, maybe it's something that he could use to kind of help get back into it. I know he lost quite a bit of product out on the water, but that's what this club's all about, and I truly do appreciate you guys. That's amazing. Ken DeWitt says, what signs were you seeing that made you switch? Okay, so we do have a question here for you, Tim, from Ken the Wiz. He said, what signs were you seeing that made you switch between the Seco and the Speedworm?
So most of my bites came over early when they died. So I even went through that pad and I was throwing the Senko a bit, and for whatever reason they weren't biting it. So I just had a thought, let me pick up the Speedworm, and I was thinking maybe a lot of my bites were coming up based on reaction. So that's where I picked up the Speedworm, and I was kind of like burning it real quick and letting it drop. And those little ones, the 16 to 15 inches that I caught, they were smacking it as I was like burning it. And I don't know if it was off the reaction because there was beds near it. So I'm assuming maybe that's the reason why, but that's why I switched, because my Senko luck was really dropping out, and I'm like, I need to try something different, so maybe I can just get them to react on something.
Yeah. How hard is it? I know a bunch of anglers out there. They love fishing their bait that they have the most confidence in. How hard is it for you guys to switch between something you're confident throwing and something that you actually know will catch the fish, but you're not as confident in throwing it to be able to land the fish? Do you guys kind of come across that? And Wendy, you're more than welcome to answer this too. But I know I find myself hard to throw something other than what I'm confident in, and I know I should be throwing something different, but you couldn't pay me to throw a speed worm. And I was throwing it on Saturday, and they were smacking it, and I just got so frustrated after 3 times, and I was like, I put it back and never touched it again. But you guys have that same problem?
Yes, I definitely do. My family, my husband, and my son make fun of me because I will bring 2 bait casters. One will have a rattle trap, and one will have a chatterbait. 2 baits I never use. I just bring it for looks, I think. That's what they say that I do, because I'm definitely a finesse fisherman. I stick with what I know and my confidence bait, but I always bring those, just in case. I really want to catch a fish with those, but yeah, I got zero confidence in that.
Hey, but you're pretty consistent if you look at the leaderboard with what you're confident in. I think you've got the right baits that you're confident in. So they definitely lead you in the direction towards the top of the leaderboard. So, what about you, Tim?
Yeah, I'm the same way. I mean, as most of my friends know me, as I was like dead stuck on a speedworm for years, for like a couple of years. When I first started, I figured out speedworm. Of course, watching Mitchell's video when I joined KF, it's like, oh, he's throwing speedworms. So I started throwing speedworms, and I was catching fish on speedworms. I couldn't drop the speedworms, and like this past year has been like really learning, because I cannot get a bite on a speedworm like to save my life. Like it was a rare bite. I could get one here and there, but then I started throwing a wacky rig, and I really got him on the wacky rig and Senko. So I've kind of got like a rotation, because like Wendy said, for a while I brought out the same deal. I'd bring out like a trap, and I'd bring out chatterbait, and I'd almost never touch them. And then there's been a few tournaments this year that's really like opened it up for me, because I've thrown the chatterbait and I got a bite, and I'll try to switch back to my worm, and I couldn't get a bite. And then as soon as I switch back to the chatterbait or lipless, I get a bite, and I'm like, it's a matter of just getting confidence in the baits to throw them, because when you're not catching them on it, it's like it's hard to switch to those baits, because it's like I never catch any on these baits.
Yeah,
like I even threw a chatterbait this weekend, and I couldn't buy a bite on a chatterbait.
Yeah, no, it's hard. It's hard for a lot of us. I sit there and I'll put it down and I'm looking at it and I'm like, no, I'm going to throw it. And I probably won't catch a single fish or get a bite on it. I've never thrown a lipless until I pre-fished Rodman, and I smashed them on a lipless one time. And I'm like, oh my God, this is awesome. I go out there in the tournament and they don't even look at it. So what Dave Myers said, I need to start throwing M80s, those firecrackers.
That's what my dad says every time I've taken him out to the fishing tournament, because I've taken him out to a few like smaller Sunday like what they did, the Sunday Slammer tournaments that up near there. A buddy owns a local tournament up there, and yeah, I've taken him to a few of those. He's blanked on every one, and my dad's like, I'm gonna start buying M80s. I can't catch a fish.
Or you put the M80 in the frog, and when they bite the frog. No, I'm just kidding. Don't do that. We don't not encourage that. There's enough fish kills going on right now to. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not getting into that conversation here. I think we know what that looks like after Jacob Wheeler, what he did on a Popka today. So that's going to hush some critics for a little while, I think. But no, Tim, I appreciate you coming on and telling us a little bit about yourself, your methods of fishing, and kind of what your strong suits are. Again, this is just an opportunity for you to thank some of your sponsors, your family, whatever you want to do. And then we're going to move over to Miss Wendy here and talk with her a little bit about her Rodman experience. Did you fish the Bassmaster too, Tim?
For
the Kissimmee event?
Yeah.
Okay. Whenever we get done with Wendy, I want to talk to you guys about the Bassmaster event a little bit, if that's okay.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay. All right. So go ahead, Tim. Sorry. Nope.
Yeah, I'd like to thank Feel Free Kayaks, FXR, and I always forget, of course, my Florida Hooligan friend buddies who we always fish together, have fun. that's about it. I always forget. Oh, Mellow Mangrove Charters. He's a buddy of mine who does Crystal River Charters and Oracle fishing, because that's a lot of my Senko, or wacky rig Senkos I use.
Really?
Yeah.
Oracle is he's custom baits, right? That from the
He made his he actually made his own molds to make his own stick baits. So it's his own design. He actually CNC'd Richard White CNC'd his own molds.
Okay, I thought I saw a video of him talking about that. So that is Oracle Bait is Richard White's company.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, those are cool. I watched some of his videos. I didn't know that was his custom mold per se. Okay, that's awesome. I want to actually get in contact with him and see if we can buy some of those.
Okay.
For giveaways. So I'll reach out to him on that. But that's awesome, man. I appreciate you for hopping on. Sit tight for me because I want to talk with Wendy, and then we're going to talk the Bassmaster event on Kissimmee before we move in to our mid session where we're going to do our giveaway. All right. So Miss Wendy, I would like to bring you on and let you introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about you, who you're on the team with, all that fun stuff. Just the floor is yours, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to try not to cough because I'm definitely been coughing a lot the last week or so, getting over a cold. But yeah, I'm Wendy Biles. I started kayak fishing in 2020 during the pandemic. My husband and my son, we have a bass boat. So my son is now 17. He's a senior. He's been growing up fishing in the TSA League, a Teen Sports Fishing Association. Now he does a Bassmaster High School series. Originally, I wanted to be a co-angler fishing off of a bass boat. I was, really practicing and thinking that was going to be my goal. And then when COVID happened and all the boat ramps were closing, I could not stay in the house. So I started researching kayaks, and that's when I came across my Pelican that I fished out of for a solid year. This is just a straight paddle kayak. But I was leaving the house like as soon as work was over, sliding in the side of the river, wherever I could get my kayak in the water. Like I said, boat ramps were closed. And I just really started enjoying that. And so I started researching kayak fishing on social media channels. And that's when I came across a community that you could actually compete, in kayak tournaments. And being a competitive athlete growing up, there's ever an opportunity to compete in something that usually makes me, very interested. So I connected with that, some of the anglers online, and then the Women's Fishing Federation was another group of ladies that was out there kayak fishing that really reached out to me, answered a lot of my questions. They have an annual meetup. I've now flown, I think, to 4 different states over the last 4 years to meet up with these ladies and just learn from them, share information, encourage one another. Great group of girls. That's kind of what gave me the confidence that, okay, I don't need to wait for my husband or my son, to take me fishing or to go fishing with. I can actually do this, by myself, as long as I'm safe, always wear my PFD, just watch out for the shady boat ramps, things like that. And then at ICAST, that's when I ran across Randy Newton. And that's when I was going to research starting, KAF.
Yep.
And as soon as I decided to join, that league, I guess, folded, and then your league started. And so that's kind of how I got started with FKBT.
That's awesome. Well, no, Randy, we talked, and we just kind of took over and kept the thing going. And we're glad that everyone that was over there came over here. For the most part, everyone has stayed, which is awesome, and we're happy for that. So thank you. Yeah, thank you. And we're glad that you chose it. You've been pretty consistent. And looking back at the past two seasons, you've been doing really well. So that definitely speaks volumes. And you've done a lot. You've made some big moves in the kayak industry too, right? So, and your son's an angler. He won what did he win last year?
He just won the Bobby Lane Cup, which that's huge. That's like the high school pinnacle of all tournaments. They have the highest payouts. It's heavily sponsored. Bobby Lane does not hold back at all in this tournament. He really believes in sharing to the younger generation that's coming up in the sport. So, and this was Brady's 5th year of fishing it. So to win it his senior year was kind of a big deal. Yeah. We're definitely a fishing family.
Where is he planning on going? Are you allowed to say where he's thinking about going, or is he going to do
colleges?
college?
We've been all over the gamut. They actually have a combine through Bassmasters. When we went to that, it was in Alabama. 26 colleges in the Southeast that have a bass fishing team. You can get paid to go to college to bass fish. Like, what the heck?
Yeah, that's
it was
awesome.
not the case when I was in school. No, we're not sure yet. I mean, he's gotten some pretty good offers. There's some benefits to staying local too, and maybe just going straight from fishing college, but also jumping into some of the BFLs. And he wants to be a pro fisherman, so we're gonna support him as long as he makes the grades and gets a degree. We'll support him to chase his dream. Absolutely.
Well, that's awesome. We definitely follow it. We see it all over social media. You guys are a fishing family, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So if you're not on the kayak, you're out on the boat, which you're living everybody's dream. I'm going to tell you that right now. Every time I see you guys, I'm like, man, I really want a boat to go out there and go do some fishing.
Yeah. I feel so blessed.
Kayaks are fun, but boats, you can get to 40 different places if you need to. So.
It's so different. We have competitions all the time where it's like bass boat versus kayak. And there's so many times I'm on the back of the boat. I'm like, Brady, you just blew right through 5 really good spots, because he's watching that live scope and he's got his foot trolling motor. And me and the kayak, I'm going to pick it apart for like an hour. So there's definitely pros and cons to both.
Yeah. Well, no, that's awesome. Thanks for sharing that a little bit. I know a lot of folks see it on social media, but you are a part of the Old Town team as well as, and I do want to say thank you guys too for allowing Stryker to come on board with the club and introducing them to us. For those of you that don't know, there is a code affiliated with that if you're a member of our club that you guys can go out and take advantage of. But I'll let you talk a little bit about that and kind of what that means to you before we jump into to Rodman.
Yeah, so of course Old Town is definitely my number one sponsor. As far as when I got rid of my Pelican, that's who I was researching. And that's been the best kayak. I've had it for 4 years. It's a 106 pedal drive. It's probably one of their most basic kayaks. I have no desire to get a motor as of yet. And I've kept it very primitive. I like things to be simple. I get overwhelmed pretty easily. But yeah, super stable. Love Old Town. And then I was very blessed that Stryker came along to sponsor me as well. I've honestly never put my hands on a higher quality clothing line, rain gear. I mean, I sat through a 2-hour podcast watching how their designers make their things. And they were asking us questions on how, as an angler, we can better the way that they design their clothing. The rain will not get inside your sleeves. It will not get inside your pant leg. It's just the best stuff. So I highly encourage, if you haven't tried their stuff, everything from their sun shirts to full rain gear, ice gear, if you ever want the heavy duty stuff. Amazing stuff. So Stryker is awesome. Love them.
Yeah, I've been looking at their product. I'm going to get some for when I go up to North Dakota. I've already been looking at it. So
they started in the ice fishing business, so they know their stuff.
Yeah, they have all. I actually I went online. They have a whole ice fishing, like just everything ice fishing there, which is really cool for me. I'm excited about it. I'm gonna get down to that. So I'm gonna be doing videos and ice fishing things when I go up to North Dakota. So hopefully you guys stay tuned. I'm not a big YouTuber or anything like that, but I'm gonna post some videos and see.
Definitely try Stryker.
Yeah, I will definitely. I've been doing my research on them for sure. So, but well, thank you for that. We'll jump into Rodman. So, what was your game plan? What was your thought process pre-fishing? Kind of just tell us about it a little bit.
It was just typical Wendy. I worked Monday through Friday trying to pursue Brady's passion. So I always have myself on the back burner, and I do this for fun. This was my second time on Rodman ever. The first time was 2 years ago when we had our tournament there before. I think I caught 3 fish the entire day. So I was not looking forward to going to Rodman at all. I was even borderline if I should even sign up for it. My little fishing partner, Amy, wasn't going to make it because she had a wedding to go to. I just fished the Bassmaster for 2 days, stayed with some friends in an Airbnb. So I was so tired. I'm like, I don't know. But, I just said, I'm just going to go by myself and just have fun, see what happens. So I got to the boat ramp way later than I ever do because I figured it takes me 5 minutes to unload, and get in the water. So I got there at I think it was 6:15. And so by the time I got in the water, everybody had already left the boat ramp. I think I was there with Kalen and his mom and dad. And, I was talking to them and they were wishing him a safe journey out in the water and stuff. And I was watching him with his new motor. And so I waited for him to launch, and then I came out kind of at the end, and it was so foggy, so foggy. And I have electronics that I just got for Christmas. I didn't even want that really, but with my Humminbird deal through Old Town, I couldn't really resist the deal that I got on it. So I went ahead and got it. I've used it now for 2 tournaments. I've never seen a fish on the graph yet. Like, I don't know. The graphs that we have on our boat is Lowrance and Garmin, so Humminbird looks different, so my family can't even help me. So I changed the settings to actually, which Brady says is so like immature, but to look like fish, the actual like a cartoon fish. I would at least know, like the dumb
Like
thing.
the goldfish?
Yes, like it's a video game or something. And so I'm kind of going out in the canal because it's so foggy. And my plan is to go out to the stump field. So I know I have to go straight across, but I'm worried about boats. I'm trying to listen because this fog set in. I don't know where you guys were, but I could barely see in front of my boat. I mean, nothing. I got disoriented within 5 minutes. I didn't even know which way the boat ramp was. And so as I'm kind of out in the middle now, God knows where, I see this big cartoon fish on my graph. I'm like, oh, shoot, here we go. I'm like, why am I going to go anywhere else? This is what I've been waiting for. So actually, right before that, let me get back up a second. There was a bass boat that was launching, and he was coming around me. So I stopped because I want to make sure that he saw me. And it was an older man with 2 younger men with him. And he goes, are you in that tournament? And I said, yes, sir. And he goes, are you allowed to take any information? And I said, no, sure. I sure can't. And he goes, well, that's a shame. He goes, because you probably couldn't get to where I would tell you to go anyway, but I was going to tell you. I just thought, whatever.
Wow.
Was it a yellow skeeter?
I don't remember. I just remember it was an older gentleman with a bright red PDF on, and he had 2 men with him as well. But like he was going to give me the scoop, and I just said, no, sir, I sure can't. And then he kind of acted like I was, stupid for not taking his advice. And I don't know if I offended him or what, but I guess I showed him. Anyway.
You made more money than him on the water that day, though. So
I'm glad I didn't listen to him. But anyway, I got there. I saw the fish on my graph. I didn't know where I was. So I put on my confidence bait, which is a 10-inch ribbon tail. I just started slinging it around, kind of fishing fast because I'm paying attention to the graph, which is very distracting, by the way. I'm usually a senses fisherman, so I'm listening, using my ears, I'm watching with my eyes, everything else. I'm watching my graph, and I'm getting no bites. So I'm thinking, this dumb thing doesn't work. And so I change up a little bit to a speed worm, and I cast it. I set my pole down for a second to turn my graph screen to a different setting. And it probably was like a minute, picked up my rod, and there was a fish on. That told me right there, you need to slow down. So once I realized the fish was on, I was able to set the hook very clean, brought it in. But that kind of clicked and told me that, okay, you need to fish slow. And that's where I started with my speed worm. I stuck with that pretty much. But all the magic happened in the first, I'd say, 45 minutes. I just kept going in circles from what I could, I didn't know if I was in grass. I didn't feel any grass. There might have been like spotty pads out there, but all the fish that I caught had bloody tails. So I'm thinking, I wonder if they were on beds or if they were transitioning to beds. I really don't know. But that sure was a lot of fun. And when I hooked the biggest one was my 4th fish. That was my big bass. And if anybody was around me, I mean, I start like praying. I'm automatically assuming I'm going to lose the fish. So when this fish jumped out of the water, I thought it was like a 15-pounder. It looked like a dinosaur. And I just started like yelling things like, oh, Lord, please, God, please, please, please. No, 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 no. I talked to the fish the entire way because I'm just assuming it's going to get off. I always think that. I don't know why. And once I got my hand around its bottom lip and I knew that I got him in the boat, I was so, so happy. But yeah, that was a lot.
I'm going to show the picture of that fish here. That's a healthy fish right there. That's for sure.
Yeah, I don't even know if it was spawned out or not. It seemed like it should have been heavier.
Yeah, it looks what did you weigh it at all?
No, I forgot. I was so jacked up on adrenaline that I completely forgot to weigh anything.
I don't know. What would you guys guess that is right there, the weight for that one? Probably around,
I'd say probably 7.5, 8 pounds.
You think so?
I was saying 7, and if it was like not spawned out, maybe even close to 9 or a little more.
My wife said it was 12 pounds, so
Yes,
I'll take
he's
her
right.
word for it. Yeah.
Molly knows what's up. That's exactly what it was.
She took a look at it. She's like, yeah, that's about 12 pounds. I need her in my kayak whenever I'm catching fish like that. But no, that's a beautiful fish right there. That is a Florida staple. That is a super, super healthy fish too. Man, oh man.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. That's a good fish. It doesn't get you in the lead for the lunker. It was about 3/4 of an inch shy of that, but still, that's a really big fish. $190 is what Big Bass took home for that one. You won first place and you took home Big Bass, so that was a pretty good payday there for just a day out on the water that you weren't too sure if you were going to get out there to go fish.
Absolutely, I'll take it.
Hey, you can't complain. I mean, it was your first win for an FKBT event too, which is awesome. Congratulations with that. I know there's going to be many more to come, so I'm not going to get too crazy with it because I know that you and just like anybody else, any day that you guys get out on the water. Oh, not sure what that was.
That is my phone.
Oh, no, you're good. Come, Molly said, "Get it together, Todd." No, I'm just kidding. No, but I was saying, Wendy. I know Amy wasn't there, and I bet she's probably kicking herself for that one but she was at a wedding, right? So I'm sure she had fun with that. But I think you learned something from this. Maybe you should start fishing without Amy.
That's right. Yeah, I'm going solo from now on.
Hey, that might you said changing your graphs and the bait and the fish your bait staying there and catching a fish. I told you to slow down. Maybe you should probably fish by yourself, and you might take home a little bit some more checks. She's probably gonna kill me for saying that. I don't really mean that, but
sorry,
that is
Amy.
true.
It was nice hanging out with you while it lasted.
Yeah, sorry. Hey, but I will actually say this though on that same kind of topic. Anytime like I fish or like we go pre-fish or I fish with the boys, like this year I've really just been focused on fishing with my friends because I'm leaving and I'm not going to get to hang out with them very much. So I really haven't been focused on winning or doing anything. It's just going out and having fun, right? And enjoying the time on the water. But anytime like we don't fish together, Harrelson finishes third, second, or first, or Mitchell wins, right? And I'm just like, maybe, and we've talked about this before, like maybe we shouldn't fish anywhere near one another and we might have a better chance. I really do think that has a big part in it because you get to slow down, do what you want to do, fish where you want to fish. And it really does. Like, I know we say that, but it's hard because we do this sport to fish with our friends and so on and so forth. But Amy said that she's done. We done. He said, and then she says, "Oops, we don't fish that close that often. We don't fish close that often.
We really don't. We're it's more of a safety thing with us. Like we like to know that we're at the same boat ramp just in case one of us gets attacked by an alligator that we could call for help if we needed it. But 9 times out of 10, we never see each other until we're back at the ramp again."
Yeah, Harrelson just hopped on here and said, "We done too." But I mean, we're doing Ocalapalooza, and I'm sure we're probably going to be on the same body of water fishing anyways for that event. So we're not done yet, Harrelson. We're going to have fun, I promise you. But no,
I do have to say though, just for this club, you guys don't even realize what you have done for me as a female. Like I probably would have never done this on my own, and traveling 2 hours from my house at 3 o'clock in the morning by myself, with a terrible sense of direction, but because I've gotten to know all of you guys and you are so helpful and you make me feel so safe, that's the reason why I'm even able to do it, because I knew if I did need something, I could call probably any of you guys and you'd be right there to help. And that goes a long way.
Yeah, no, that's amazing.
That.
No, you're and that's, I mean, I really do appreciate that, but that just speaks so much of everybody else on this club. We don't have there's barely any drama at all, which is just something that as a tournament director for myself, Todd, Sean, and Clutter, like that's awesome. But the people that are a part of this club, we don't have 1,000 members, right? We have 75 members, but they're some of the most nicest people you could ever meet, right?
All good guys, everybody.
Yes, and that's what we're all about. We want to spread what this kayak fishing community has with the entire state. We want people to come down, one, to know what our club stands for. We're not affiliated with any national trail. right?
Yeah.
We have the luxury to just kind of like tailor our tournaments and things to you guys, right? And I think that's the best thing, because you can be caught up in fishing these big national trails and competing for thousands of dollars, but you guys can come out and, you know, compete with some of the best anglers in Florida here in this club, and really hone your skills for when you go and compete in those national trails. You know, it's good, right? And I'm just so thankful for that. I know we talk about it a lot. We're thankful that we have Wendy, we have Amy, we have females that feel comfortable coming
Mhm.
and fishing our club. I wish we had more, to be honest with you, but I know we have way more than we had when we first started, and I just hope that it continues to grow. I'm trying to get Seth Taylor's wife to fish. She just caught a giant.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, that is amazing. I watched their video. It's almost at like 500,000 views, which is insane. Yeah, so it has like 500,000 views, I think is what he had said on one of the podcasts I watched with him on Pro Calapalooza with Drew Gregory this week. Yeah, almost 500,000 views for that. That is insane. But what he does with his family and his girls is just, that's something that I wish I could do one day whenever I have a family, because that's just so awesome. Being in nature,
Yeah.
being on kayaks, fishing, and spending quality time. I hope that you guys, you know, continue to you know, to spread as we go forward in our years of what this club has to offer. I can only imagine what that's going to look like. And one day when I retire, hopefully we can make it a little bit bigger, or go do something a little bit bigger for you guys. But as of right now, we're going to keep things kind of low key, because I think it's important that we stay humble and have some humility there, and not to try to get our pants get too big of our pants to think we could do something bigger. We got a lot of stuff going on in the club, which we're going to talk about a little bit later on this evening too. But I don't want to jump into that. I do want to say, Wendy and Timothy, thank you guys for taking the time out of your Thursday to join us. I do want to talk about Kissimmee before we kind of go off into the other end. I know it didn't really end up how you guys probably wanted it to. I'm not sure exactly where you guys finished. I'm a terrible host. I probably should have looked that up, but I want you guys to tell me a little bit about how Kissimmee went for you guys, and kind of what were some things that you learned from that event to kind of help you prepare for those future events that you guys are going to fish on that trail. So, Tim, I'll let you go first, and then Wendy, I'll turn it over to you.
I didn't have a big plan, so I actually had a heck of a Friday, trying to pre-fish. So I went out and I went to go launch my kayak because I was planning on fishing at East Toho, because I knew I could catch a limit there. In the past few national events I've done, I never caught a limit in any of them I've done. So I'm like, I'm gonna go somewhere I can catch a limit, just feel good about myself. I launched Friday, got there. I got up late because I didn't sleep well, and I got there at like 10 o'clock, launched my kayak, went to go take off, my trolling motor wouldn't turn on. Found out I blew a fuse. So took everything out of the water, put my kayak back up in the truck, ran to an auto parts store, got a fuse, and I'm like, you know what? I'm close to Gentry. I'm going to go over and launch a Gentry just to look at it. Went to go launch, and luckily I bought 2 fuses as a backup. Well, I plugged it in, and I found out when I was resoldering my wires, my plugs back together, apparently a couple of the wires got trimmed too far or just nicked, and they were touching the positive and negative. So it was blowing the fuse. So as soon as I put it together, it blew another fuse, and I found that out. So luckily I had some tape, and I went out and launched out there. But, I mean, Saturday I just went to East Toho. I fished the north end. I caught a bunch of dinks. My day started off catching a 15 and a 3/4, nothing big, and it flopped off the board while I was trying to take pictures. So I'm like, oh, this is how my day's going to go. So I ended up catching like a small limit both days, like 70 inches both days, which I was joking with my buddy at Rodman, because my 4 fish at Rodman were 73 inches, and their 4 fish was more than 5 fish of either day at the Kissimmee Cheek. But yeah, I mean, I just, like I said, I did it more for experience, and I got my limit, made myself happy both days. So I caught like 50 fish, but they're all like under 15 inches. But because I am planning on going up to Dale Hollow in the end of April to fish that. So that'll be fun. I've been wanting to get out of Florida a little bit too, just to learn some new bodies of water. Ever since I fished Lake Murray for Bassmasters last year. I'm like, I want to get out and do some more of these out-of-state tournaments because it's just neat.
Yeah, that's it. That's important. It's fun. It's a totally different ball game, and I think anytime you can get out on the water and compete against the best anglers in the nation, 224 of the best anglers around the United States, you can't beat that. And it was a chance on your own on our home lake to go make a name for yourself, which a lot of you guys did, but two of our anglers did in the club, and I was hoping we would sweep the top three. I really was. After day one, I was hoping a lot. I was hoping somebody we'd have the top three in there. But at the end of the day, hopefully you guys you were able to learn something from it and be able to move in the right direction. Hopefully they come back down to Florida next year and you got a second shot at redemption there. So yeah, that's awesome. And Wendy, what about you? How did your Bassmasters event go?
I was excited just to hang out with some of my friends that were coming into town, coming into the state, Christine and G, that I don't get to see too often. I was so excited to get to hang out with them. I chose to go to Cyprus. I pre-fished for a couple hours on Friday and decided since I was getting bites, that's where I was going to go. Saturday was a great day. I caught 5 fish right off the bat. Caught a lot of fish that day. They were just nothing in size. And then day 2 is where I realized this is where I need to change my game because I let the boat ramp chatter get in my head so bad. If I would just stay with what I know, I caught a lot of fish the day before, but I heard guys at the boat launch talking about this amazing offshore bite that was on the other side of Cyprus. So after 1 hour of not catching fish in the first hour of the tournament, I just thought, oh gosh, my bite from yesterday's gone. It's dead. I'm going to have to start over. And I don't have a motor, but I went from one side of Cyprus all the way to the other. It took me 50 minutes. I got there and there was no offshore bite at all, none. And I could tell from the guys around me that they were flipping in reeds, which is not my game. I tried that a couple of times. Then I freaked out and decided I needed to go back on the other side and do what I know. And then the wind had picked up by that point. So it took me an hour and 20 minutes to get back. So by the time I got back over, I was so dead. I think I was like overheated, overexhausted. I didn't feel well. I caught 1 fish. It was bad, but I learned my lesson. Don't listen to the boat ramp chatter. Have confidence in what you know. Yep. And, just stick with your game plan. But yeah, I got in my head big time.
Yeah. Well, hey, that's a learning experience. You learn something from it. I
learned a lot. Yeah.
Well, there is a bite off there. You just got to find that right area. I know. I think when we were on Toho for our championship, they were doing the big bass event that was out there. And I know there's some eelgrass out somewhere in the middle. I don't know. I think there is an eelgrass flat out there. And I believe that's where some of those guys were going out there and just putting a hammer down on them during that event. So that there is an area out there. I'm not sure exactly where it is, but I went back and watched their the live stream that they had on it, and there were dudes out there crushing it on those flats out there. But if you don't have grass, what now, Tim?
I was out there that day when they were out there. I actually went out to that grass flat late because I know roughly where that eelgrass flat is. And I got out there late in the day, but they were still coming in that day with their cameras on the boats, and they were still catching fish. But yeah, they were killing it in the morning there.
Yeah, I got a couple people on here. Amy Brown is on here. Wendy, she says there was an offshore bite. She found it.
Oh, congratulations! Everybody clap for Amy.
Yeah, she said her Saturday was your Sunday, so y'all switched bites there, and then you had Sherman, the hammer himself is on here, and I'm gonna have to get him on here at some time. Always fish your own strengths. Never listen to the talk. Yeah, sometimes it's misleading, but there is an offshore bite there, but it all depends on if you're able to really pinpoint where they're at and if they're on it or if they're pulled off of it. So, but yeah, no, that's Sherman. I appreciate you, Amy. Wendy's probably going to give you a phone call after this. I'm just kidding. But no, yeah. So, but overall experiences, you guys enjoyed it. I'm sure you got to meet some friends and so on and so forth. So that's good. That's awesome. I got to go to the award ceremony, actually. So I got to go there. I drove out there to see Mitchell and Sherman. Actually, Sherman is the champion for that. He I think there's only been like 10 other anglers to do what Sherman Bishop did in Bassmaster history, which was to do the Century Club back in 2 days. So he hit the over 200 inches in 2 days there, and he was around a lot of the big name folks, and he was just putting a hammer down on them, doing fishing his strengths. Obviously, I don't know what Sherman Bishop is weak at when it comes to fishing. I don't know what it is. Anytime he gets on the water, and oh yeah, by the way, he didn't probably free fish at all.
No.
And and he went out there and absolutely hammered it. He's saying I was sixth. What's that?
He was the sixth to do the double century.
Oh, the sixth angler to do back-to-back century, 100 inches each. That is just phenomenal. And I mean, yeah, I'm with Sherman. We're going to get you on here. We're going to talk about it. I haven't had him on here yet because I'd only imagine how many people has reached out to him to try to get him. And I know how busy he is. I was just waiting on him for the next event. He's probably going to win it. So I was just we're going to tackle it all at one time, so.
I'm just glad he didn't fish Rodman. He stayed home for Rodman. I was like, whew.
Yeah, give somebody else a chance, right?
No, Sherman's a hammer. He's a natural.
Yeah, he's a hammer, but he's the most humble and has the most humility than anybody that I've ever met. It's been an absolute blast, becoming friends and having him as a part of the club. You want to talk about nice people, Sherman. I know you're watching this, man. You're awesome, and we're all happy for you that you took home the win. And Chris Mitchell as well. I mean, him and Sherman were battling it out. And then I don't know where this lady came out of at the end. What was her name?
Her name was Becky. She's somebody's wife, but she came out of nowhere.
We were sitting there, and I'm like, yeah, Sherman and Mitchell, they're going back and forth. Like, this is going to be awesome. But we all, like me, Matt Vogt and Daryl Harrelson, we were all on a phone call. Well, me and not phone call, but group chat. And we were like, what's going on here? Like, they're going back and forth. And we're like, someone has to be sandbagging. And I don't, because of service and issues. And then I look at the end of the day, and I'm like, who is this lady? She came out of nowhere. Yeah. But I have to tell you this right here. I went to the award ceremony, and you know how everyone thinks this lady she made it. She talked. They had her come up and speak at the award ceremony, and they asked her, are there any sponsors that she wants to thank? And she started thanking her sponsors, or a chiropractic company, and then she's like, I want to thank Social Security. That was her main sponsor. And I'm like, everybody in there lost it. I was like, that has to be the best. I want to, when it comes to thanking my sponsors, thanking Social Security. I laughed. I couldn't stop laughing whenever she said that. And I was like, I cannot wait until I get to be 80 and get to use that as one of my things. So, but no, that was awesome. Again, Chris Mitchell, he went out there. I think we were all expecting him to be up there in the top, right? And what he did, even on day one, breaking the 100-inch mark, is something special with all of those. So Chris Mitchell, I know we're pretty close friends, and we've already talked, but publicly, I'll have both Sherman and Mitchell on here at some point, I promise you. And we're going to talk with them and get to pick their brains. But again, everyone from the club that competed in the Bassmaster Kayak Series, again, that's awesome. We're super happy, super proud of you guys. Hopefully, if it didn't turn out like you wanted it to turn out, hopefully you learned something from it. Keep your head up. Keep challenging yourself. Blake Abbey was out there as well. He's going to come on Thursday. I'm sure we'll talk to him about his event. I know he was out there. I saw his video with Christine Fisher and whatnot too. So we're definitely going to talk with him. But yeah, definitely looking forward to that. Wendy and Timothy, really do appreciate you guys coming on. We're at that hour mark, and we just got done talking. So I truly do appreciate your guys' your willingness to participate in what we do here. I hope you guys enjoy it. Thank you guys for fishing the club and being good sports. In regards to that, and ambassadors for our club. We need all of it, right? So just again, if there's anything that we can do from a club standpoint to help you guys out in any way, shape, form, or fashion, please reach out. We'd love to do that, and we'd love to have you guys out there fishing on the water with us. So I'm gonna Wendy, I'll let you thank any of your sponsors since I didn't let you get to do that, and then we'll kind of transition into the second phase of our cast tonight. So
Thank you. Thanks again for everything, Chris. I love this club. But thank you to Old Town Kayaks, Yak Attack, who puts all of my fancy rigging stuff on my kayak, great sponsor, of course, Striker. And then if you guys ever want to shop local, I've got a supplier on speed dial. It's Country Boy Baits. He does all of my sons. He makes his own molds. It's a business in his garage. He lives in Osteen, Florida. Right now he's running a buy one, get one. His baits are amazing. I use his speed worms. He's made a special worm just for me, but Country Boy Baits, he's awesome. So thank you.
Well, I'll get with you afterwards because we're looking to get some product to do giveaways in, and we're always wanting to support our local folks as well. So I want to get with Oracle, and I want to get with your guys so we can get some baits, some soft plastics in some folks' hands, okay?
Cool. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Thanks, Wendy. Thanks, Tim. We look forward to seeing you guys on here at another time after you guys take home another check. So, again, congratulations on that, and we'll see you guys. We'll see you guys on Thursday, hopefully.
Okay.
So, all right. Thank you, guys. I'm going to remove you guys now. All right. That was awesome. Super happy, super stoked for both of them. Blake Abbey, he will be on here next Thursday. He finished in the top 3. He finished second, right behind Wendy there. So we'll talk with him. Get to talk a little bit about that event and a little bit about what's going to be happening next week as well with Ocalapalooza. It was brought to my attention, and I am really sorry. I got busy last week, and I had mentioned something about doing a giveaway for our club for the first 30 to sign up. So what I did is I didn't do that, and it was brought to my attention. I forgot about it. So what I want to do is I want to hold up my end of the bargain, and we're going to spin a wheel. We have the giveaway for the pre-sign up, meeting that 30, being the first 30 to sign up for the club. There was a deadline on it. It was before February 1st. The first 30 to sign up before February 1st, we're going to be entered into a drawing to win. What you're going to win is an entry fee and big bass into the next FKBT event. We're going to pay for your entry fee and big bass, $60 value for your for a next event of your choosing, minus the state champion, minus the championship. So as of right now, I'm going to list off the names of folks that we do have on our spinning wheel. It's going to be Hunter Taylor, Alan Moore, Christopher Parker, Jason Leach, Evan Percasso, Scott Gibbons, myself, Fred Anderson, Marvin Morales. We have David Myers, Richard Bruce, Christopher Lindsay, Ryan Dills, Bill Daly, Robert Oakley, Granger, Andrew Cordero, Todd Quillen, and Jeff Gallagher. Those are all of our anglers that had met that timeline right up before January or February 1st. I'm sorry. So what I'm going to do is I have it here. I'm not lying to you. This isn't rigged. I promise you. Y'all can see it. I don't have it pulled up here, but I have everybody's name on here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hit spin, and if we call your name, we'll put your name in the comment section below. We'll reach out to you and let you know what you want if you're not watching right now. So I'm going to go ahead and hit spin. Sorry, this is bougie. Come on, Chris. Oh, it was close. Fred Anderson, you are the winner. We're going to keep doing things like this throughout the year to encourage you guys to sign up early, get signed up early. That just helps with us being able to pay out our anglers sooner than it has been. So Fred Anderson, you are the winner. You get a free entry into Panasofsky is the next eligible event that we have. So we'll get in contact with you if you're not watching. But again, congratulations there. I'm surprised it's not Robert Phillips or Scott Gibbons that didn't win that one. Seems like they're always the winner. So Fred Anderson, congrats on that. Yeah. So what we're going to talk about next is we got a big release. So hopefully we got 18, 19 people on here watching. What we're going to do now is we're going to talk a little bit about what the championship has or what the championship and kind of what we have planned for this year. There's some big things that we've been in the process of doing as far as talking about AOY prize, what that's going to look like, some of the trophies and the the checks and things in which we're going to do to give away at the championship. We're not going to release a lot of that information yet, as we're in regards to, we are going to still continue to pay out. The checks are going to be the top 5 like it was last year. We're still going to have an AOI trophy, and first through third are still going to be getting their hard trophies. Angler of the Year is going to have a new style trophy this year, which we're excited about. It's going to be really cool. That's going to be released once we get it in. We'll do a big release for that, but it is going to be a different style trophy. We're actually going to come up. I will say this. Angler of the Year, we're doing something really unique. Todd, you called me, kind of telling them about what we're going to be doing with the banner that we're going to make for them. No? Okay. We'll talk about that a little bit later. It's going to be really unique. I think you're really going to like it. It's not something that you really see be done in any other club that I know of. But it's definitely going to be a pretty cool prize pack and trophy and presentation thing for Angler of the Year this year. Since we're not going to be giving away a kayak for Angler of the Year, it's going to be a pretty hefty check and some cool hardware. I'll just leave it at that. Is the championship part of your top 6 events? Regular season events.
It is. It's
for AOI.
It's the top 33% of your 4 best.
Yep.
Go to the championship.
So
top 6 is AOI.
Yep. So what he's saying is, does AOI points count towards championship? Yes, you will earn AOI points in the championship. So we're not going to know who the Angler of the Year is, and potentially, if it's a close race, and how people do in the championship will determine that. So yes, I think that's what you're getting at, Hunter. Best 4 is to get you qualified. Top 33% of our club of your best 4 events, and then championship does count towards AOI, but only the members that obviously are participating in the AOI are going to be able to have that kind of count towards your best 6, obviously. But yes. That's the same format as it was last year. We did the same thing there. But yeah, so hopefully that answered your question. I think it did. Championship, we're going to be getting a lot of prizes and things together. Again, a big part of this, I posted a mid-season financial recap on our members only page. I want to be fully transparent with you guys to where you know where we're sitting at with membership fees and dues. We did have a little bit more money in the fees and dues for memberships, but we used some of that money to purchase stuff in the beginning of the year, and checks and so forth until we got our couple tournaments underneath our belt. But right now we're sitting around $2,700 in that, which is going to be used to go towards the championship. We got some taxes. I did the taxes for the club, and we pulled $900 there. So that got deposited there this month or this week. So traditionally we use that $900 or whatever it is that we get back from our taxes to purchase a lot of our championship trophies and checks and so on and so forth. And then whatever's left over gets dumped into the championship pot that we have. So format for the championship is going to be the same as it was last year. For those of you that were not here last year, it's going to be your best 5 fish in length over a 2-day period. It's a 2-day event. It's going to be your best 5 fish total. So if you guys have a bad day on day 1, day 2 is a day in which you guys can still make it up. The reason we did that is because we got really good feedback from a lot of the members last year that it's a different challenge, right? Like I said, we're traditionally these big events like this, it's your best 5 a day. So your best 10, a cumulative 10. And I think with our club, we had the freedom to do something a little bit differently, and it's a little different challenge. And again, it promotes, like, if you have a bad day on day 1, you still have an opportunity to go out there and catch a mega bag on day 2. But also for me, like last year on Toho, I could have easily walked away with, with a win with me catching 18, 19-inch fish like I were on day 2, but wasn't able to cull up my 20s or 21s from that I caught on day 1. I didn't catch a single fish over 19 inches on day 2, which then posed where I fell into 2nd or 3rd place, right? So it's a challenge in itself, and I think that that's something unique about our club, and we talked about it. We spent a lot of time talking about it, and we just said, you know what, let's stick with it the same as it was last year. And I think that's what it's going to be moving forward. We're just going to keep our championship as your best 5 over a 2-day period, and just that be what our club is all about. So, and I'll let Todd talk about it a little bit too.
I was going to say one other thing that it's good for too is if somebody, there's always family obligations, this, that, and the other, and if somebody can't fish both days, but they can only fish one, it still keeps them a little bit competitive in that as well. So it allows them to have that opportunity or that chance.
Yeah, and like I said, our championship is the May 17th and 18th, so it's a 2-day tournament, right? And things happen, right? And the big thing is we want folks to be able that qualify for the championship and might not be able to fish the Saturday, not be counted out, right? They put a lot of time and effort into making it into this event. So we want to try to maximize the folks that actually earned their spot in the championship and opportunity to fish it. We will continue to do roll downs as we see fit to make sure that we filled the meet that 33%. If you auto qualify, if you've won an event and you fish a regular season event and you've met the criteria of the 4 minimum, then you're going to be in regardless, right? If you're say at the very bottom of the Angler of the Year points, or you fall outside that top 33%, but you won an event, you're still going to be able to fish our championship so long as you meet that requirement. As of right now, our Angler of the Year race is looking pretty solid. I believe after the Rodman event, I'm going to go here and look at it real quick. After our Rodman event, I believe Granger is going to be sitting at the top of our Angler of the Year points. That's a rookie. So there's a good chance that he can win Rookie of the Year and Angler of the Year, which would be pretty cool if he keeps up being as consistent as he has been. So I'm pulling it up now. We have Granger, Hieronymus, and Jason Leach are both tied in first place with 453 points. So Devin Holbrook is in third with 445. You got Robert Oakley in fourth with 442. Frizzy Zamora, he is in fifth place with 437. And you got Mr. Daryl Harrelson in sixth with 433 points. And then you got Christopher Lindsay in seventh, Thomas Woodring in eighth, Ryan Dills in ninth. And then you got, to round out the top 10, is Blake Abbey. Just outside of that top 10 is Todd Quillen, right here on stream. You got Christopher Blanco in 12th, and Wendy Biles is in 13th. Okay, so a lot of big names up at the top, but a lot of movement can still be had as we conclude or finish up this final stretch of our regular season events. So a lot can change. It's definitely within reach for a lot of you guys. So yeah, I'm super excited about what the rest of the season has in store for us. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, we're going to make a post following this live stream about, for those of you that aren't watching, just releasing the location for the state championship and the format in which we're going to follow, so that you guys can be well aware of it. We spent a lot of time and a lot of conversations on where we're going to be having our championship this year. It was difficult for us, right? We chose a location where a lot of you may be thankful that it is just the best 5 over 2 days, because it can be a challenging area. But we chose this area because there's just so much that you can do in places where you can fish, to where it just made sense. It's a challenge, which we want. But there's a lot of big fish, and there's a lot of area in which you can get back into to really kind of just have some water to yourself. So without further ado, what we're going to do at this time is we are going to release the location. All right, so I'm going to pull it up here on the screen. The big reveal is going to be the St. Johns River. The St. Johns River is going to be the host location for our state championship this year. So drop it in the comments below how excited you guys are that we're going to be fishing on the river. We're going to be releasing the boundaries in which we're going to be are in bounds for this event. But yeah, it's going to be a fun year. It's going to be a great place to host our championship. I know the Kayak Anglers of Florida have hosted their championship on the St. Johns River. We fished it a couple years in a row now. But it's not on our schedule this year in our regular season, and that's because for good reason. It's going to be where we host our state championship at. So we're super excited about it. Hopefully you guys are too. Harrelson, hey, it's a challenge. I'll tell you that right now. But again, it's the top 33, right? You guys are going to have plenty of time to go get out on the water and dissect whatever part it is that you want to fish. Blake Abbey went out there at our last event, caught 99 inches. There's big fish out there. 5 best sunshine bass. Hey, I'm excited about it. I'm kind of excited that I'm going to be the one judging this year. I am going to try to come down and be there for the state championship at the award ceremony, hosting that. That's going to be my vacation, I believe. Sherman said, "Oh my." Evan Fracasso said, "Not excited." Hey, we were looking at the Kissimmee chain. That place has been beat up. We were looking at Orange Lake. We've had Orange Lake there for the past couple years. We sat down and we looked at bodies of water. Without opening up a chain like we did last year, the opening up this river system is just as good. So there's big fish out there. We're releasing the location now so that you guys can get prepared for it. It's in the summertime. It's hot, right? The river there that has a lot of much needed cover and timber in which you guys can get in some of the backwaters there. So
part of the thoughts is there's every type of fishing that somebody does, whether it's lake, backwaters, river, the whole works. So there's something there for everybody.
Yeah, we were talking about a popka, but there's just a lot of risks that go involved with the popka.
There's a lot of big fish.
Well, I don't know how we can say anything about dead fish anymore after 80 pounds was caught today.
Yeah.
But what it comes down to whenever we chose this is we looked at a popka, we looked at Kissimmee, and we looked at Orange. All three of those locations are getting pounded. And I know they're on the St. Johns River now, but with it being a tidal fishery, it's just a challenge, right? And hopefully you guys are up to it. Harrelson said he knows a good shell cracker hole. That's a pun at me. I was catching them and we went there and it was nothing but shell cracker. But yeah, if you want to catch shell cracker, I know where to go. But yeah, I'm excited about it. Yeah. Super stoked to release that information. Hopefully, we will be dropping a lot of the off limits periods and all of that stuff here in the coming weeks. In regards to in preparation for the St. Johns River. It's going to be the Astor and DeLand is going to be your preliminary boundary. So. Astor and DeLand, if you guys fished the St. Johns River with us last year, it's going to be the same boundaries as our St. Johns tournament at the last event. I will tag those that post that Sean made for the boundaries at the on the Florida Kayak Bass Trail official page there. What did David Meyer say? My manatee hell. I think we made some people upset about the location. We're sorry, but it seems to be like it's a really good time.
Like this. Somebody will be excited at the end of March 18th because we will have a winner, and that person will be excited.
You mean May 18th? May 18th, not March.
May 18th. What did I say? May 18th. There will be somebody excited, and they will fall in love with that place.
Yeah, if you struggled out there, we struggle on a lot of these bodies of water, right? So at the end of the day, we release it. We're giving you guys plenty enough time to get familiar and familiarize yourself with it if you're in the running and you meet that threshold to get your berth into the championship. there's a lot of water. There's a lot of different things in which you can do, right? And it gets you guys away from being on top of one another. During May, there's some of the lakes that we were looking at, we've been studying, and there are a lot of pleasure boaters. And when it comes to 2 events this year, we've had multiple people being flipped over. There's still big boats and things on the St. Johns River. Do not get me wrong. That still is definitely a concern for ours. However, you're able to get back in some of the creeks and the rivers there a little bit easier than you would be in anywhere else. So again, that was a big part of it. But it's also a place where we haven't fished this year too, or a bass hasn't fished, or the native no limit tournaments, or any of these the other big tournaments that are out there. We wanted it to be a little bit of a challenge. And for you guys to have fun, right? Get out there, pre-fish. We highly encourage you guys to get out there and pre-fish. It's open. I know that a lot of us are going to be up on the north side of Florida here in the coming weeks for the Ocalapalooza event. So get out there and start getting familiar with the area. But at the Astor Bridge and the DeLand Bridge, anything in between that, you guys are going to be, it's fair game. Public boat launches, same thing as it is. Pay if you have to pay, or if it's public, if it's on the FWC app, it's going to be fair game for you guys to launch out of. We'll release where we're going to be doing the award ceremony. It's going to be somewhere in the middle for you guys. So definitely looking forward to it. Definitely excited for the challenge for you guys. But yeah, got to put the work in on this one. It's not going to be the Kissimmee chain or Toho like it was last year. So definitely going to have to put some time and some work, and hopefully it all comes together for you guys on those 2 days there. So if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you guys know where you guys can reach me. I'll be here. I'll be moving coming up in the next 2 weeks. But I still have my phone, still have my social medias. Reach out to me. But yeah, that's what we're here for. We truly do appreciate you guys. We appreciate what you guys do for this club. I hope and pray that you guys still stay consistent with showing up and coming and competing for that Angler of the Year and the berth into the championship. Don't let the location or anything like that dissuade you guys from wanting to participate. I promise you, like Wendy was saying, right, it could happen to anybody at any day on any body of water. Todd can vouch for that on Lake, what was it that you were at? Lake
Instapoga.
Lake Instapoga, right? It's the right
That's
place,
good.
right time.
Mhm.
It could all happen in a split of a second. So we truly appreciate you guys. And if you guys have any questions, reach out. Todd, am I missing anything in regards to that we needed to talk about today?
I don't think so, but if we come up with something, we'll cover it next week.
Yeah. We have our next live is going to be next Thursday. Ocalapalooza. That's what I wanted to talk about. There were some questions. We do have our mandatory captains meeting is going to be next Thursday at 7 p.m. for the Ocalapalooza / the Harris event. So there's been some questions. I've answered the questions. The same question a number of times on the live, and I'm going to post it and I'm going to send it out through Fishing Chaos as well. If you are fishing the Ocalapalooza event, the only eligible bodies of water are obviously the bodies of water that Ocalapalooza had, the Drew Gregory has listed on their website and on their Tourney X. We have to check in for Ocalapalooza on Thursday night, correct? I'm going to go on there. I'm actually about to pull up their schedule now, Amy, and I'm going to run through that real quick and highlight that as well. If it is Thursday night, then we'll shift our live to Wednesday, because I wanted to look at that, but I'm almost fairly certain that is. So let me look at that real quick. It is. Okay.
It is Thursday.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm pulling it up now. I just want to look at it real quick and talk a little bit about what they have going on. So for their event, yes. So it's going to be Wednesday. So pre-fishing. I don't know if a lot of you guys know about Ocalapalooza or have read into their rules, which I highly encourage you guys do, because it's drastically different than your traditional kayak tournaments. Pre-fishing was a big question. You get 4 days. Official practice for the Ocala-Palooza event actually started last Friday. Okay. Our event on Rodman does not count as one of your pre-fishing days, which Drew Gregory stated whenever he was on his live with us last time, right? Or Eric was on our live with us last time. So what that means is for Ocala-Palooza, you get 4 days total pre-fishing, on the water pre-fishing between last Friday and when pre-fishing ends on Thursday. Pre-fishing ends Thursday at 5 o'clock. Okay. There are opening ceremonies for the Ocala-Palooza event. Is check-in and registration and things from 5 to 7. And then at 4 to 7 at Midtown, at the Midtown station in Ocala. So registration ends at 8 o'clock on the February 20th. So you have to be off the water Thursday by 5 p.m. But Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, that would be 3 of your days of pre-fishing there if you guys so choose to do so. I'm trying to go through here. Yes, we have to check in for Ocala-Palooza on Thursday night. Yeah, so I'm gonna talk with Drew Gregory and see what that check-in process looks like. I'm assuming it would be a check-in, registration, and like maybe a board check. I will ask him if that has to be in person, but I'll definitely get back to you guys beforehand. Probably tomorrow. I'll make an update on our Facebook page just to ask those clarifying questions for you guys when it comes to that. Isn't board check at that time for Ocala? Yeah, so we're going to change the mandatory captains meeting for that. We're going to do Wednesday night. They actually have a Wednesday dinner from 6 to 8 at the District Barn Kitchen. So what's probably going to happen on that is I'm going to record and then we'll just post it to where you guys can go back and watch it. I'll do a recording with you guys to where you don't have to watch it live. You guys can just focus in and participating what they're doing there. I will be at all events there. So if you have any questions in person, you're more than welcome to come find me or text me and we'll get you squared away. But I'll make a recording and post it on our members only page for everyone to see. Sherman Bishop asked, do we need the code for it on an FKBT? No. So for Ocala-Palooza event, for this event, if you're fishing the Harris event, you can use the FKBT identifier. But if you are fishing the Ocala-Palooza, either or. We're going to be using their code as it is already for Saturday. So there's no confusion on you guys. Our judge will accept the code and the FKBT and the Ocala-Palooza identifier for that event, just to make it as easy and streamlined as possible for you guys. The big thing there with the Ocala-Palooza and our event is they are on 2 different tournament platforms. So Ocala-Palooza is on Tourney X, so make sure you guys are squared away and know all your settings are correctly configured for Tourney X, and then ours will be on our Fishing Chaos, right? So you'll still have to upload your fish to those platforms. So make sure you do so in a timely manner so that they can get judged and the feedback get sent to you immediately. That should wrap up that question there. Like I said, the code for the Harris and Ocala event that we have is going to be released early for Saturday. It'll be released Friday night at the same time. I'll get with Drew to make sure that we release it at the same time as they do. I need to figure out what that code's going to be so I can configure it properly on our end to make sure it gets in your guys' hands. Eligible bodies of water. So for those of you that have elected to only fish the Florida Kayak Bass Trail event on and signed up for that, you guys are eligible to fish Harris and any eligible body of water in the Ocala-Palooza list. However, if you guys are fishing the Ocala-Palooza event, Harris is off limits. You guys cannot fish Harris. If you launch inbounds, I guess there is a way that you can fish Griffin if you so choose to. But we did get clarification on that. I saw back and forth with Amy, who Amy and I think it was another angler in our club that had mentioned it. So hopefully that answered any questions. I highly encourage you guys to get familiar with the KAS's rules. Hopefully you guys have some integrity when it comes to the pre-fishing rules and the maximum of the 4 days there. If you guys are fishing the Ocalapalooza event, I definitely highly encourage you guys to participate in the welcome dinner that they're going to have at the District Bar and Kitchen on Wednesday night. Thursday night, they're going to have a get-together at the Midtown Station at 7 p.m. Immediately following the check-in and registration process. And then Friday at between 10 to 12:30, they're going to have the Bass U brunch. That's also going to be located at Midtown Station. So there's going to be food there. There's going to be a seminar by one of their fishing biologists. And then after that, Friday, starting at 2:30 is the first launch. So you'll be able to fish from 3 to 7 on Friday. And then Saturday, you're going to be able to fish from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. there. And then the closing ceremony is going to be at, 6 p.m., right? So we're going to be doing our award ceremony at the same location as the Kayak Adventure Series award ceremony. We'll post that address in our tournament dashboard page there for you, and we'll send it out all over social media and Fishing Chaos for those of you to have it. We are not going to make those that fish just the FKBT on Harris. It's not going to be a mandatory meetup for you guys for this event. We highly encourage you guys to come up and participate in the Ocalapalooza events and festivities that they're going to be having there, and rooting on and cheering on some of our potentially top finishers. Hopefully we're able to take home some top finishes within our club. But we highly encourage you guys to get out there and take part in that and be a part of the closing ceremonies. We will be doing our closing ceremonies outside starting at 5. Okay, we're going to start our award ceremonies at 5. Give you guys time to get there, hang out, get to talk and whatever, and then we'll get started with that. We're going to be giving away a rod and reel for first place. Second place is going to be going home with a Yak Attack leaderboard, and then third place is going to be going home with a Strike King Lose and Mock gift card there. So we'll give you guys all that information: first, second, third, and Big Bass. We'll be getting checks. Obviously, Big Bass is going to be being paid out there as well, and be contributing to the Lunker of the Year pot there. So if you guys catch a giant, it does qualify you guys for the Lunker of the Year pot there. It's $25 for Big Bass for this event. It's a free event for AOY points for the FKBT. If you signed up, it's free. And you have the option, the $25 optional Big Bass there. So it's an easy way for you guys to get some valuable AOY points to boost your to add to your top 6 there. So do I have any questions in the comment sections? Hopefully I've been clear and concise in regards to how we're going to be doing this event. Again, we're learning. This is our first one that we're doing with them. Any feedback that you guys may have, let me know, and we'll only be making this more efficient and better as we go on. This is a unique event, and I'm super excited about it. It'll be my last event fishing here in Florida, so I'm super excited. Hope I get to see you guys out there and enjoy some get to learn a little bit from you guys. But Todd, I'll turn it over to you if I missed anything in regards to that. So
I think you got it, buddy. You got it all covered.
Get signed up. I don't know what we're sitting at right now. I'm going to go look and see where they're at in Ocala as far as the registration goes for that. I'm going to go see real quick. Right now, they're sitting at 45 anglers. From looking at it, we got Blake Abbey, myself, Buzz Burline, Sherman Bishop, Amy Brown, Sam Burke. We got Evan Fracasso, Jeff Gallagher, Denton Giovinco, Daryl Harrelson. Yeah, those are all. Well, let's keep going. We got Jason Leach, Christopher Lindsay, Chris Mitchell, Brian Nelly, Alan Reed, Hunter Taylor. Yeah, Seth Taylor too. I think Seth Taylor is signed up as well. So we got quite a few of our anglers from the club in Florida out there representing, which is awesome. If you haven't signed up yet and you're kind of, on the fence about signing up for the individual side, the individual side's $175. If you're a minor, I believe if you're under the age of 18, I think it's cut in half. I think it's like $87 for anyone under the age of 18 to sign up. But there's also another way in which you guys can fish if you're not wanting to do the individual and commit to the $175. There is a team aspect of it as well, where it's $75 per angler, and you guys can sign up and fish as a team, a two-man team. So if you're interested in that, post it up on our social media page if you're looking for a team member, and get linked up, and it'll be a great opportunity for you guys to go and compete on a national level. Panosofsky is our next regular season event, right? Panosofsky is also in eligible waters for the Ocalapalooza event. So, or if you're just fishing the Harris event, the FKBT event, it's also could be a good opportunity for you guys to get some pre-fishing in for our upcoming event next month. So that's just some thoughts there for you guys. And if that's something that you guys plan on doing. But if you have any questions about Ocalapalooza or the Harris event, please send me a message. I'll do my best to answer it in a timely manner between now and then. I am off all next week and will be in the Ocala region doing some fishing and hanging out and just having a good time. So if you're in the area, please reach out. We'd love to link up, have dinner, go pre-fish, go have some fun on the water next week. I'm looking forward to it. But that's all I have. We've been on here for an hour and a half. It's a little bit longer than what I wanted to, but I'm just super thankful that we got to spend some time with Wendy and Timothy tonight and get to talk with them. But also super thankful that we finally were able to release the state championship and talk about the Ocalapalooza Harris event. If you're on Harris and you're fishing Harris, that is a very, very busy lake when it comes to jet skis and boaters. Please be safe. I will not be down there. I'm not sure who all plans on fishing that body of water. But if anything happens, please reach out to us. Just be safe. Wear your life jacket. Keep your head on a swivel, right? And just don't think that those boaters are going to slow down for you, because they probably won't. And if they do slow down and idle past you, just know that oftentimes the wakes that they throw off behind that boat are bigger than they would be if they were staying on plane. So just be mindful of that. The easiest thing that you guys can do as far as safety and being prepared is something that we always do, is we stop going underway and then we put the bow of our boat into the wave that's coming. Don't try to let it come over the back and roll you over. It's super easy to do that. I know kayaks are stable these days, but it's always best just to whip it around, turn around and put the bow of your kayak into those waves. So takes about 2 to 3 seconds to do so, and it can save you a lot of money and gear and keep you from getting wet. So if you guys have anything else, please reach out. I'm going to stop talking now. I'm sure you guys are tired of it. So Todd, anything you want to thank the sponsors we got real quick, and then we'll conclude this podcast.
Yeah, we'd love to thank our sponsors, Strike King, Lose, Mott. They've done an awesome job with hooking us up with some BB1s this year. Hobie Eyewear is our big bass, and giving us, we'll get some feedback here, giving us some glasses for each big bass in every tournament. Also like to thank Dakota Lithium that have donated some batteries for a championship. Rapala, Torn Outdoors, Yak Attack, Cross Kicks, man, comfy shoes. They've donated a pair of shoes for every first place prize. And that
Striker. We got Striker, Evolve as well.
Twist Lock. Who else am I missing? Evolve, Striker. I think that's about it. So
yeah, we're gonna have to get our we'll update our banner here as well. It's this way for this stream because of how many we do have. But we're definitely going to update our banners to show Evolve and all those others. But if you got a company or you got people that that like what?
I forgot one. Elite Sticks.
Yeah.
Granger, Hieronymus.
Granger.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm going to be saying it wrong. say it. You do it.
Hieronymus.
Hieronymus.
That's an awesome name. Yeah, we got Granger and we got Elite Sticks. Those are two guys from our club that definitely put in some work with some quality product. We're going to be giving away some rods, Elite Sticks rods at our championship, and potentially one, before the championship. He's busy right now doing big fishing things, so he's been pretty busy. So I haven't really asked him about that yet. But we're going to do something special for the championship in regards to some Elite Sticks and whatnot. We love supporting our local anglers that have businesses that revolve around the fishing industry. So we're going to continue to do that. But yeah, no, thank you guys. Thank you guys for sponsoring. Thank the members for coming up and supporting this trail. And everything that it stands for. Without you guys, we would not be here and able to do this and have fun doing it. So again, thank you guys from the bottom of our heart. Hopefully we didn't make too many people mad in regards to the location of the championship this year, but it's going to be a fun testament to your ability to catch some big fish out there. But you got 2 days to do it and only got to catch 5. So it's going to be fun and we're going to enjoy it.
Y'all can blame Sean and Clutter.
Yes.
They're not on here.
They're not on here, so just blame them. Yeah. Sean's actually on his way to fish a Lake Seminole event for the Northwest Florida Bass Nation. So he's going from North Carolina over to Lake Seminole to compete this weekend. So Sean, if you're watching this, be safe driving over there. And good luck up there. Tell the guys up there on the Northwest Bass Nation side we said what's up. And hope everything over there goes well and you're able to cash a check on that end. So without further ado, we appreciate you guys. Stay tuned. We'll drop when I release that, the recording for the captain's meeting. As always, we look forward to seeing you guys out on the water. What you got?
Just popped up on my Fox News is that a kayaker gets swallowed by a humpback whale in dramatic moment caught on camera.
Oh wow! We'll talk a little bit more about that next week on kayak safety. Hopefully don't have to worry about that in the freshwater here. But yeah, appreciate you guys sticking with us. We'll see you guys next week, and until then, tight lines, be safe out on the water, and enjoy the rest of your night.
Have a great night,
see you guys later.